Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today we're doing a look back at a BRN-180, Brownell's BRN-180 with a new look. I've done a couple of videos on this, probably even 3 or 4, going from the Gen 1 to the original to the Gen 2. We've done comparisons between the original AR-18, AR-180 going to the Armalite AR-180B and then going into the BRN-10. This one, what makes this one a little bit different is we've done some work on this one to update it. And we've had some pretty cool cosmetic features that we're going to be showing on here as well. So as you guys know, a year or so ago, they came out with a new version, the Gen 2. And the biggest things about the Gen 2 was the change of the handguard, which is putting a screw here instead of a locking gate on here. And the other one basically was to these full-size guns. Basically what it did was it allowed you to have an adjustable gas system so you could fire suppressed and unsuppressed. The original Gen 1s, it had an adjustable gas system on the carbine barrel, or the shorter versions, but it did not on the original. The original one, you had to have 2 different pistons, one for suppressed and one for unsuppressed. Well, now the Gen 2s allow you a very easily 2-position suppressed and unsuppressed. So taking a look at what we did here, as you can see, this looks a lot different from the original one, as you're going to see a photograph of the original BRN-180 that we had. The first thing you're going to see different is the stock. Now, Brownells had come out with this stock at SHOT Show. I think it was last year. They showed a prototype of it, which is basically the exact shape of the original AR-180 or AR-18 stock. So they just came out with it, I think it was a few months back, and I got one to put on here. Again, this lower receiver here was one of the Nodak Spud BRN-180 lower receivers. It gives you the actual look of the original type receiver, but it's still keeping it compatible with the AR-15 lower receiver compatible BRN-180 lower receiver. Of course, the stock folds to the right. It uses the same SIA lock 1913 rail and the SIG MPX and MCX use. So it attaches right to the 1913 rail in the back. So, and of course, this one here will fire with the stock closed. Now, the next parts that we came across, I was just doing some internet research and they had come up. There's a company called AR18parts.com or AR18parts.com that had some really neat 3D printed accessories for the BRN-180. And the most important one was what we see right here, the pistol grip. They're the first ones to come out with a pistol grip that fits on this lower receiver that looks just like the original AR-18 AR-180. So I saw that. I was like, wow, I was really happy to see that. And the next one was the handguard. Now, again, as you know, this is a full 1913 rail top handguard with M-lock going all the way around. Well, they also decided they were going to make a AR-16 type handguard. So if you guys are familiar with the AR-16 looks like, which you're going to see a photograph of, you're going to see you did have some vent holes that were in the front, and you did have the handguard on the rear and with a stop. Now, they also make this for the BR-180 pistols. The only difference is you don't have a second piece to it. You just have a first piece to it. For the longer stock, they give you an extra couple inches on here with a hand stop on here. So this gave it, again, more of the original look of the AR-18 or AR-180. Well, the next thing that we did was, due to the fact that we now have this adjustable for suppressed and unsuppressed, we dropped on a ASR mount, dropped my Saker 556 suppressor on here. And of course, once we flipped it over to suppressed, we fired this thing both suppressed and unsuppressed. So we're going to take this to the range. We're going to see how this one shoots, both suppressed and unsuppressed. Well, mostly I use the 20 round magazines for no other reason that it just looked right. I mean, of course, this will take any magazine you want to put in it, but I just use the 20 round magazines. We shot this both suppressed and unsuppressed. Again, unsuppressed, no big deal. This gun's probably had well over a couple thousand rounds through it over the last couple years that we've had it. Between the initial video and the update video, we really run this thing through its gamut because the first rifles that I got, I was a little less than happy with the accuracy that the first rifles were putting out. They were sort of men at a barn door. They were, if I recall, they were around 4 inches or 3-4 inches or so. And we expect much better out of that. And I got with Brownells, and they put me in contact with the gentleman over at Primary Weapon Systems, which is where these things were actually manufactured. Of course, this was also had its hand in by the guys over at Foxtrot Mike Product as well, but the manufacturing was Primary Weapon Systems. And I said, told them what my problem was. They sent me one back, corrected the issue for as far as the accuracy. I was around 2 MOA with it, which again, I don't expect this to be a precision rifle. This has a standard mil spec trigger in it. Of course, if you wanted to put something else in it, there was certainly not a problem with you doing that. You could, but they had fixed that up. So when I got this one, we ran some rounds through it, and then again we just put the suppressor on it. Now, putting the suppressor on here, of course, we did get some of the gas come back at us, which we would expect. But this rifle ran 100% suppressed setting with the suppressor, with standard Black Hills 5.56 millimeter ammunition, with Remington UMC. Also, we used some of the new Norma Tactical 223 55 grain full metal jacket. Everything we put through, it did work. Now, this rifle has been quite popular for Brownells. And of course, Brownells they did pioneer the issue with getting a new stock, but you had another company that came online with the pistol grip and the handguard. Now, for as far as costs is concerned, from Brownells, this stock's going to run you about $170. Now, for as far as getting these parts here are concerned, you're just going to go to AR180parts.com, and you're going to find these parts on there. The pistol grip, you're looking at $65, as well as you're looking at the handguards are going to be $65 as well. And these are very, very well made, and it really gives us more of the original look, which is quite frankly what I really liked. I mean, it was more than obvious when this rifle was designed they couldn't make it exact, because again, to recreate that original sheet metal lower receiver would have just been stupid. They would not have got their money out of it. To make it work off of a AR-15 lower receiver was just the only way to go. Basically, what they had to do with the upper receiver was they had to shorten everything up so it would fit on that receiver. And then, of course, Nodex Buds came right along to give a more proper-looking lower receiver. And then, of course, as time goes on, you got the right stock, you got the right, you have the right handguards. It looks really nice. The only thing I will say, putting the ASR mount on here, the handguard will not slide off. Basically, you can still get to the gas system and you can take it off, but if I had this to do over again, I probably would have put a GSL on there instead of the ASR. But again, I can still take it apart and maintain it without too much of a problem. But overall, this gun is a lot of fun. It's really been popular for Brownells. They've made several iterations. They're making 300 Blackout in it. It's available, and it's still growing strong. And it happens to be one of the most significant designs that, quite frankly, successful failures of the last century, which is what I called my last video on this. Talking about how this design never came to fruition. However, pretty much most every rifle that we have now is based off of the AR-18 design with the bolt or with the gas mechanism. As you see, we shot at our challenge targets as usual. We had a great time with those. If you're interested in buying any steel targets, take a look at challenge targets. We have our code. It's SAS. You can save 10% off of any steel targets. So we do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.